what if the secret to unlocking financial success wasn't really about, tracking every single penny or mastering super complex investment strategies or even just working harder?
Right.
What if the real key was actually something way more fundamental, something that happens entirely inside you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what if changing how you think, how you feel about money could quite literally transform your financial reality?
That's the powerful idea at the heart of our deep dive today.
It really is. And it's a concept that's getting a lot more attention. Our sources definitely emphasize how important it is. We're exploring this idea of your money mindset.
Okay.
Think of it like a subconscious blueprint. It governs your whole relationship with money, all those deeply ingrained beliefs, feelings, attitudes you hold.
So it's not something you consciously pick?
Not usually, no. It's often shaped really early on. Your upbringing, your cultural background, maybe past experiences, even just societal norms, they all feed into it.
Got it. So it's like this invisible operating system kind of running in the background all the time. Exactly. And it's constantly influencing every financial decision you make, whether it's big or small. And ultimately, shaping your financial outcomes.
And our sources, they draw a really sharp contrast, don't they, between two main types of these operating systems?
They do. On one side, you've got what they call the scarcity mindset. This one operates from a place of fear, lack, limitation.
Right.
The core feeling is basically there's never enough, that resources are finite, and that getting or even keeping money is just inherently difficult, or it always involves some kind of sacrifice.
That sounds pretty limiting.
It is. This mindset tends to keep people feeling kind of stuck, limited in what they think is possible for them.
It's like the financial version of walking around with blinders on, maybe, and your hands tied. It could make you hesitant about opportunities.
Yeah, definitely. Terrified of taking even smart, calculated risks. Or sometimes even prone to self-sabotage because deep down, there's this belief that success isn't really possible or maybe not sustainable for you.
Oh, okay, I see.
Precisely. And then countering that is the abundance mindset.
Yeah.
Sometimes called wealth consciousness.
Abundance mindset.
Yeah. This perspective is rooted more in trust, opportunity, possibility.
Yeah.
It's the belief that actually resources are plentiful, that new opportunities are always emerging, and importantly, that you are capable of creating and attracting wealth.
So it's much more expansive.
Very much so.
Yeah.
It encourages things like resilience, creativity, seeing potential where maybe others only see roadblocks or obstacles.
And the main tool our sources seem to highlight for actually shifting, from that limiting scarcity place towards this more empowering abundance mindset, it's financial affirmations.
That's the key tool they focus on, yes.
Yeah.
Consciously using positive statements. The idea is to challenge those deeply held negative beliefs and impress new possibilities directly onto your subconscious mind.
So you're actively trying to reprogram that internal operating system.
Exactly. Affirmations are these positive, deliberate statements.
Yeah.
They're reminders that you choose to repeat, aiming to embed them into your deepest beliefs about money, about financial flow.
Right. And the goal isn't just wishful thinking. It's about intentionally envisioning and, crucially, creating positive feelings around money. And ultimately, rewiring those subconscious patterns that dictate your financial behavior.
Okay, so our mission for this deep dive then is to really understand how this seemingly simple practice can actually have such a profound impact.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to unpack the science, behind why affirmations might work. We'll share a really extraordinary personal story from our sources about manifesting significant wealth using this practice.
It's quite a story.
Yeah. And we'll pull out practical, actionable steps from different experts and personal accounts to help you, the listener, begin cultivating a mindset geared towards financial success and abundance, right now.
And we've looked at a range of stuff, interviews with financial psychologists, coaches, personal stories shared online, research in psychology, and even neuroscience.
Great. So where do we start? Understanding the mindset itself. Let's start right there. Truly understanding your money mindset. Where does this blueprint actually come from? Why is it so powerful? Our sources are pretty clear that it's forged from this really complex mix of early experiences and influences.
Right, like childhood stuff.
Your childhood environment plays a massive role, yeah. Think about the conversations you might have overheard about money growing up.
Okay.
Were they full of anxiety? Like, oh, we can't afford that. Or maybe even money is the root of all evil.
Or maybe just neutral or positive even.
Exactly. Or were they more neutral, maybe even positive? Did your parents seem to hoard money out of fear? Or did they spend it carelessly, maybe feeling resigned? Or did they manage it mindfully? These early observations, often before you even really understood what money was, they form these foundational, often unconscious beliefs.
Like you just absorb
You
it.
absorb them like a sponge, absolutely. And then beyond the family unit, cultural influences are huge. How is wealth seen in your community or in society generally? Is it admired? Is it distrusted? Are there unspoken rules about who can be wealthy and who maybe can't? Societal narratives, media portrayals, they all feed into this sort of collective consciousness around money, shaping individual perspectives in really subtle ways.
And your own direct experiences too, right? Like a parent losing a job, or maybe a personal financial mess up, or even a lucky break.
Definitely. All of those leave their mark. They either reinforce those early beliefs or sometimes challenge them.
And it's the combination of all these things that creates those really deep-seated, almost semi-conscious beliefs we mentioned earlier.
That's right. They feel less like opinions you hold and more like fundamental truths about how the world works.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Well, things like money is scarce, or it's fundamentally difficult to earn a good living, or you have to grind constantly, work extremely hard for every penny, or beliefs about wealthy people like rich people are greedy.
Or even about yourself, like, I'm just not good with money.
Exactly. Or I'm not the kind of person who becomes wealthy. Those are really common.
And those are the classic signs of that scarcity trap you mentioned.
Yeah, the classic hallmarks, yeah. When you believe deep down that there's never enough, your actions tend to follow that belief.
How so?
Well, you might become excessively frugal, for example, hoarding money out of fear, even if you actually have decent savings. Or you might be paralyzed by the fear of loss.
Right. So you don't invest.
Exactly. Unwilling to invest, maybe start a business or even negotiate for a raise, because the fear holds you back, and that limits your own growth potential.
So it's like you're playing financial defense all the time, just trying to survive rather than actually aiming to thrive.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
It's feeling anxious about money constantly, even if, on paper, you're currently stable.
Mm-hmm.
And it can lead to behaviors that actually create the very lack you're afraid of, like avoiding good opportunities, procrastinating on important financial tasks.
Or maybe even spending impulsively when you do get money.
Yes, because the underlying belief is kind of like, it won't last anyway, so might as well spend it. It's your subconscious expectation of lack subtly directing your conscious behavior.
Wow. Okay, so what about the flip side, the abundance mindset?
Right, the abundance perspective or wealth consciousness. This is characterized by a more fundamental trust in life's capacity to provide.
It's not just naive optimism, though.
No, not naive optimism. It's more like an operating system that scans the environment for opportunities rather than constantly looking for threats. Instead of focusing on what's missing, it focuses on what's possible.
Okay.
The core beliefs here are much more empowering. Things like, there are abundant opportunities out there for me. I am capable of creating value and wealth. Money is a tool that can enable good things. Success is available to me.
So it's about seeing a setback differently, not as proof of failure, but maybe as feedback.
Exactly, as feedback, as a learning opportunity. It's believing you can learn, adapt, grow, and that there are resources available to support you. The real difference is where your mental energy is focused. Is it on lack and fear, or is it on possibility and trust?
And this difference in mindset, it actually has a real measurable impact on financial behavior, right? You mentioned studies.
Yes, absolutely. Studies have shown a strong link between optimism, which is a key part of an abundance mindset, and positive financial habits. For instance, some research indicates that more optimistic individuals are significantly more likely to save consistently.
Okay.
And they also tend to set more ambitious financial goals for themselves.
That makes total sense. If you genuinely believe the future holds good things and that your efforts actually matter, you're naturally going to be more inclined to plan for it, invest in it.
Right.
Whether that's saving money or even investing in your own skills.
Right. Whereas if your underlying belief is that things will probably just go wrong anyway,
Yeah.
well, the motivation to save or plan long-term is seriously undercut.
Yeah, why bother?
Exactly. There was one notable study, actually, that followed law students. It found that those who had a higher degree of optimism ended up earning significantly more money about a decade into their careers compared to their less optimistic peers.
Wow, significantly more.
Yeah. And the researchers concluded it likely wasn't just luck. Their optimistic mindset probably fueled specific behaviors like persistence when things got tough, proactively networking, taking initiative, seeing setbacks as temporary bumps rather than roadblocks, all things that contribute to greater success over time.
And it's not just about earning more, is it? It's also about how you manage the money you have.
Crucial point. If your subconscious mind is stuck in scarcity, or maybe feels unworthy of wealth, you might unconsciously find ways to get rid of money.
Like through impulsive spending.
Impulsive spending, yeah, or avoiding budgeting, or just sort of neglecting your finances altogether. Whereas a mindset of abundance tends to foster respect for money as a tool for creating security, opportunity, impact. So you're more likely to manage it wisely, invest it, build wealth consciously.
And the cost of not addressing a scarcity mindset, it goes beyond just the bank account, right? You mentioned mental health.
Absolutely. Our sources really highlight this deep, often cyclical link between financial stress and mental health. Constantly worrying about money, a classic symptom of scarcity thinking, isn't just made worse by mental health issues, it actively contributes to them.
Creating a vicious cycle.
Exactly. A feedback loop that can keep people trapped in both financial and emotional distress. So recognizing and starting to work on your money mindset is really the foundational first step to breaking free from that cycle. You can't shift something if you aren't even aware of it.
Okay, so awareness is step one. Identifying those underlying beliefs, maybe by watching your own behaviors and emotional reactions around money, then what? How do you actually start changing them? This is where the affirmations come in.
This is where affirmations become a key tool, yes. So in this context, affirmations are positive statements that you consciously choose to repeat, and you do it with intention. They're designed specifically to counteract those ingrained negative thoughts and feelings about money and financial flow. Essentially, they act as a deliberate, positive input to your subconscious mind.
The goal being?
The goal is for these chosen statements to become the new, dominant program running in the background.
It might sound, well, simple. Maybe even like wishful thinking to some people, but you're saying our sources point to actual research suggesting there's a real basis for their effectiveness, psychological, even neurological.
Exactly. It's not just fluff. Studies have linked self-affirmation practices, which is basically what financial affirmations are, focused on the self in relation to finance, to tangible benefits. Research shows improvements in academic performance, for instance.
Really? Like better grades?
Yeah, particularly boosting the GPA of students who were underperforming but took time to affirm their core values. Affirmations have also been shown to improve problem-solving abilities, especially under stress.
Interesting.
And they could reduce overall stress levels, which obviously has positive knock-on effects for both physical and mental health.
So it's not just a feel-good exercise, it's actually impacting cognitive function and how we respond to stress. How does that connect directly to our money mindset, though?
Well, think about the brain's plasticity, its ability to change and adapt over time. Our subconscious mind, which drives so much of our automatic behavior and reactions, it's constantly being programmed, right, by our thoughts, our experiences.
Okay.
So if you've spent years, consciously or unconsciously, repeating messages of lack or difficulty around money, you've literally built and reinforced certain neural pathways. Think of them like well-worn paths in a field.
Right, the default route.
Exactly. Affirmations are like intentionally carving a new path.
Oh.
By consistently repeating positive desired statements, you're activating and strengthening new neural connections associated with those positive concepts and feelings.
So you're consciously feeding your brain the positive data points it needs to start building a new perspective, a new pathway.
Precisely. And neuroscience research using fMRI scans has actually shown this. When individuals focus on their personal values, which is closely related to the self-affirmation process, the neural pathways associated with the brain's reward system become more active.
The reward system, like dopamine.
Yeah. Suggesting that affirming what's important to you or what you aspire to can tap into the brain's motivation and reward circuits, reinforcing that positive message. Furthermore, studies indicate that affirmations can help reduce the brain's defensive response to threatening information.
Like bad financial news or a setback.
Exactly. Instead of shutting down or becoming resistant when faced with, say, financial warnings or challenges, the affirmed individual is more likely to process that information constructively, because their sense of self-worth and capability has already been bolstered by the affirmation practice.
That's fascinating. So they don't just make you feel better for a moment. They can actually change how your brain perceives and responds to the financial world around you, making you less reactive, maybe more proactive.
That's the idea. But crucially, our sources really emphasize that while repetition is important, it's not just about robotically chanting words.
Right.
The feeling and the conviction behind the affirmation are vital. Simply saying, I am wealthy, while feeling deep down that it's completely untrue, that probably won't be very effective.
So you have to kind of believe it.
Or try to.
You need to connect emotionally to the state or the possibility the affirmation represents. It might feel like a stretch at first, absolutely. But the effort is in trying to cultivate the feeling, the belief, the sort of vibration associated with the words.
Aligning words, thoughts, and feelings.
As much as possible, yes. And consistency, just like with building any new habit or even a muscle, is absolutely key. That's what makes those new neural pathways strong and establishes the new subconscious program.
Okay. So what are some examples? Our sources gave specific types of affirmations, right?
They did, and it's helpful to think about them in categories based on what they target. A really foundational category is affirming your own worth.
Because limiting beliefs about deservingness are a huge block. Huge. Beliefs like, I don't deserve wealth, or money is for other people, not me. So affirmations like, I am worthy of having everything I desire, or I define my own worth and I deserve all the good things coming my way. Or even the simple but powerful, I have always been a person worthy of a financially secure life. These are designed to chip away at those core insecurities.
Okay.
And then there are even more direct ones about receiving, like wealth chooses me, or I deserve to receive large sums of money.
Then you have ones focused more explicitly on manifesting abundance, attracting wealth.
Exactly. Statements that frame money as flowing easily, opportunities presenting themselves. Things like, I am living in my most financially successful season yet. Or, my life is rich with opportunities. I effortlessly attract money every day.
Some sound quite expansive, like, I am limitless.
Yeah, or statements focused specifically on the flow, like, I attract financial stability, and money often comes to me in wonderful and unexpected ways.
What about for people really grappling with fear and anxiety around money?
For them, affirmations aimed directly at releasing that scarcity mentality are crucial. Statements like, I release scarcity mentality, and in its place, I have rich money habits. Or the very direct affirmation, I lack nothing, which targets that feeling of constant deficit head-on. These can be incredibly helpful in retraining the nervous system and the mind to move away from fear-based thinking.
And finally, there were some about connecting money with positive emotions, like joy and happiness.
Yes, this combats that common belief that money is inherently stressful, or that it has to come at the cost of happiness. So you see statements like, I am ecstatic to be able to provide myself with limitless financial freedom, or I speak positively about my financial journey.
Or even just enjoying the process, like, I am delighted every time I check my bank account.
Right, or I love seeing my wealth multiply, and it brings me great joy to be financially safe, so I can rest, travel, and do what I love. These link financial success directly to those desired positive life experiences.
So the key takeaway here is that these are examples, templates maybe. The most powerful ones will be those you tailor to yourself.
Absolutely. The most effective affirmations will be the ones you either craft yourself or adapt. Statements that specifically target your personal limiting beliefs and resonate really deeply with your desired future reality.
Okay. To really bring home the potential power of this practice, you mentioned a specific personal story from our sources, a pretty dramatic one.
Yeah, we wanted to share this one. It's drawn heavily from a detailed account posted on Reddit. It's from someone who attributes manifesting a really significant amount of money, specifically $250,000 in profit, in a very short period directly to practicing wealth affirmations.
Wow, $250K profit. That's substantial.
It is, and the story is particularly compelling because it doesn't start from a place of privilege or existing success.
Yeah.
The author paints this really vivid picture of their starting point at age 21.
What was it like?
Feeling like a complete failure. They dropped out of college twice, were struggling with anxiety, depression, a really deep sense of helplessness. They described having a poor work ethic, no high-paying skills, and just lacking any apparent drive to succeed at that point.
Sounds like a really tough spot.
It really does. Marked by poor physical health, living in a toxic environment, no money, no support system, and really no clear path forward. They described being trapped in what they called a profound failure consciousness.
Just stuck in that negative loop.
Completely. The one area where they did have some experience, though, was meditation and some metaphysical studies. They knew how to quiet their mind, apparently, but hadn't really connected that inner capacity to changing their difficult external circumstances.
So what was the turning point?
It came when they discovered the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda, the yogi who taught a lot about the power of consciousness and how you can essentially remold your life by changing your internal state. They found a book that offered clear, practical instructions on applying these principles. Yogananda referred to it metaphorically as using the mind's magic factory. This idea that focused thought vibrations can eventually condense into tangible outcomes in the real world.
The magic factory.
Yeah.
Interesting concept. Did they buy into it right away?
Not at all. They mentioned significant initial skepticism, feeling lazy about it, lots of doubt. But despite that, they committed to the practice outlined in the book.
Which was?
Reading specific wealth affirmations immediately upon waking up and again right before going to sleep. They started by just reading the words silently, then progressed to reading them softly aloud, and eventually just repeating them mentally with focus.
They must have faced some internal resistance doing that, given their starting point.
Oh, definitely. They described the internal struggle really vividly. Those old, deeply ingrained thoughts of failure and lack were constantly battling against these new ideas of success and abundance being introduced by the affirmations.
So it took conscious effort.
A lot of conscious effort and perseverance. They had to keep redirecting their attention back to the affirmations whenever doubt or negative thinking popped up. They specifically mentioned focusing their concentration at the point between the eyebrows, a technique taught in that particular tradition to help amplify mental power and focus. They found this helpful in building the intensity and concentration needed for the affirmations to really start taking hold.
And did it start to shift things internally?
Over time, yes. With consistent practice, they got better at focusing, at intensifying the feeling behind the words. They started to feel like they were winning this internal battle against their old conditioning. And surprisingly, this began to create a feeling of inner joy, even though their external circumstances hadn't actually changed yet.
That internal shift was the key then, the precursor to external change.
It seems like it was the critical precursor, yes. This changed mental attitude started subtly translating into action. They began researching business ideas online, driven by this newfound, quiet conviction that something would come of these efforts, even without any immediate financial results to show for it.
So the internal state started driving the action.
Exactly. They described developing an attitude of a winner, falling in love with the actual process of learning, researching, implementing ideas, problem solving, regardless of what their bank balance looked like at that moment.
Yeah.
The internal shift in consciousness was motivating action, even when external validation was totally absent.
Then did things start happening externally? You mentioned synchronicity.
Yeah, then they described what they interpreted as signs or synchronicity, the universe kind of aligning with their new internal state. A yoga student unexpectedly paid them for some counseling, something that hadn't happened before.
Okay, interesting.
More significantly, their mother received a gift of Persian turquoise stones from a friend back in Iran. Now, the author's affirmations specifically mentioned the wealth of this earth, and they saw the arrival of these beautiful, valuable stones, especially coming from their country of birth, as a direct manifestation aligning with their affirmation words. It felt like natural possessions of wealth showing up.
Wow, that must have felt powerful.
It really solidified their growing faith. They felt increasingly in the flow, more confident that something good was right around the corner. They felt less bothered by their current financial state because their inner state was shifting so much. They kept experimenting with online businesses, including selling on Etsy, driven by this intuition that they just needed to find one winning golden product.
And they kept up the affirmations.
Yes, continued the affirmations nightly and in the morning. They felt less internal resistance now, and a growing certainty that the words they were repeating were actually becoming true for them.
So the practice became more ingrained, less forced.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Move beyond conscious effort into a more automatic state. They mentioned some mornings just waking up with clear thoughts like, my success is inevitable. I don't know how I will succeed, but I will succeed. These weren't thoughts they felt they had to force. They felt like intuitive insights bubbling up from a subconscious that was now becoming saturated with success consciousness.
Okay, so what was the big breakthrough moment?
It came after their affirmation practice one night. They described entering this state of really deep faith, feeling like they had truly merged with the consciousness of wealth and success. They fell asleep in that state and had a powerful, vivid dream about running a busy, legitimate business. Saw employees, customers, the whole operation thriving.
Wow.
Upon waking, the very first thought that popped into their head was this clear, authoritative intuition. I am going to make $200,000.
Just like that, a specific number.
Just like that. They noted their conscious mind immediately threw up some doubt. How dare you think of these numbers? But the doubt was easily overcome this time. Why? because the magnet of success they had painstakingly cultivated in their subconscious was now much stronger than the old magnet of failure.
So the inner work had paid off. The foundation was set.
It seems so. And then, within just a week of that dream and that $200,000 intuition, this was March 2020, they intuitively discovered the sudden surge in demand for face masks on Etsy.
Ah, the pandemic timing.
Exactly. Using their research and intuition method for finding that golden product, they confirmed face mask was a highly searched term. They asked their mother, who could sew, to make a few. They posted them online and saw initial sales the very next day.
Wow. The speed of it after all that inner work.
The speed was remarkable. They posted the first masks on March 18th. Within the first week, their revenue hit $14,000. By April 14th, that's just 25 days after listing the first masks, Etsy had deposited $200,000 cash into their bank account.
The exact number from the intuition. That's incredible.
It really is. The business kept growing, eventually generating $850,000 in revenue, which resulted in that $250,000 in profit after they made a point of paying their employees, well, connecting that back to a principle of sharing the abundance.
So they felt they had essentially created massive luck through changing their mindset.
That's how they described it, by consciously changing their thought patterns and their internal state. And they emphasized the experience was life-changing, far beyond just the money itself. Feeling a profound sense of freedom, purpose, knowing their work had helped customers and provided jobs during a really uncertain time. Seeing their design shipped across the country felt like a kind of spiritual validation of all that inner work.
That's an amazing story. But there was a catch, right? A lesson learned.
Yes, and this is crucial. After achieving this significant success, the author, perhaps understandably, stopped doing their daily affirmation practice.
Oh, got complacent maybe?
Possibly. And over time, those old scarcity and failure thought patterns started to creep back in. And this led to a decline in their financial success. They realized that maintaining that state of wealth consciousness wasn't a one-time fix, it's an ongoing discipline.
That really reinforces the point about consistency, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As the author put it, it's like going to the gym. You can't just stop after you hit your initial fitness goals and expect to maintain that level of fitness. You have to keep up the practice.
Keep working the muscle.
Exactly. The author shared they are now consciously restarting their affirmation practice, applying it not just to wealth but also to health, and expecting further positive outcomes. It really highlights that cultivating wealth consciousness is an ongoing, lifelong process of managing your inner state, not some magic trick you perform just once.
Wow. Well, that personal testimony is incredibly powerful, both as inspiration for the potential and as a clear warning about needing persistence. So while affirmations are clearly a powerful tool for that subconscious rewiring, they seem most effective when they're part of a more holistic approach, right? It's not just about repeating words in a vacuum.
Absolutely not. Our sources really emphasize that aligning your inner state with outward action is critical. And one key element of that is goal setting.
Right, not just wishing.
Not just wishing. Setting clear, specific, and importantly, written financial and success goals. There's a well-known study by psychologist Dr. Gail Matthews, which found that simply writing down your goals makes you something like 42% more likely to achieve them.
42%? That's significant just from writing them down.
It is. Writing clarifies your intention, makes your aspirations tangible. It sends a clear signal to both your conscious and subconscious mind about what you're actually aiming for. This helps your brain filter for and notice opportunities that align with those goals.
And visualization works closely with this too.
Yes. Visualization is another powerful technique that works hand in hand with affirmations. This involves regularly spending time mentally picturing yourself having already achieved your financial goals.
But not just seeing it, right? Feeling it.
Exactly. Crucially, it's not just seeing the external outcome, like the number in the bank account. It's feeling the emotions associated with that success. The relief, the security, the joy, the freedom. This kind of mental rehearsal builds belief and primes your mind and body for that reality, making it feel more attainable.
And all this internal work, the affirmations, the goals, the visualization, it absolutely has to be paired with external action, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Cultivating a wealth mindset isn't about sitting back and waiting for money to fall from the sky. The changed inner state, that abundance consciousness, is what guides and empowers the action you take.
Like the Reddit author realizing they naturally started doing things successful people do once their mindset shifted.
Precisely. When you truly start to inhabit that success consciousness, you naturally begin taking the kinds of actions that lead to success. This means breaking down those big goals into smaller, manageable steps, and then consistently working towards them, day by day.
Taking calculated risks is also part of this action piece.
It often is. A scarcity mindset, as we discussed, is often paralyzed by the fear of failure. It keeps you safe, maybe, but stagnant. An abundance mindset is generally more comfortable with stepping outside the comfort zone.
Okay.
It views potential failures not as catastrophic endings, but as learning opportunities, as feedback. One source mentioned that observed tendency men often applying for jobs, even when they meet fewer of the listed criteria compared to women. That highlights a potential mindset difference around assessing capability and just being willing to stretch for an opportunity.
Interesting point.
Yeah, that willingness to take calculated steps despite some uncertainty is a key behavioral difference, often driven by mindset.
Beyond those specific actions, cultivating successful daily habits seems fundamental, too.
Definitely. This includes the practical side of managing money well, things like budgeting, tracking your income and expenses, saving consistently.
Even small amounts.
Even small amounts, especially if automated each payday. It builds the habit, the muscle, and investing wisely, of course. An abundance mindset helps these tasks feel like you're building something valuable, rather than feeling like you're restricting yourself.
And continuous learning. That came up too.
Vital habit. Investing in yourself, reading books, taking courses, developing new skills. Networking isn't just about gaining knowledge. It's about increasing your value, your earning potential. An abundance mindset sees knowledge and skills as assets that actually appreciate over time, unlike many physical possessions that depreciate.
What about gratitude and generosity? How do they fit in?
Great question. Practicing gratitude regularly helps shift your focus from what you feel is lacking to what you already have. This directly combats the scarcity mentality and, interestingly, seems to make you more receptive to receiving more. And practicing generosity, giving money or time when you can, reinforces your own belief in abundance. It sends a signal, both to yourself and, some would say, to the universe, that you trust you have enough to share.
And finally, the environment you're in matters a lot.
Hugely significant. The people you spend the most time with, the media you consume, they heavily influence your mindset, often unconsciously.
So choose your company wisely.
Absolutely. Surrounding yourself with positive, encouraging people who believe in possibility, and actively limiting your exposure to negativity, constant complaining, gossip, or media messages that just reinforce lack or difficulty, that's crucial. Seek out communities, podcasts, books, content that inspires and supports your journey towards abundance.
It sounds like even practical financial strategies are deeply connected to this mindset stuff. You mentioned insights from Lewis Howes's sources.
Yeah, the expert insights there really echo how practical strategies and mindset are intertwined. For instance, the advice to consider less sexy, but potentially highly profitable businesses. Boring businesses, as one expert called them.
Right.
Choosing that requires overcoming ego, maybe societal pressure about what looks successful. It's choosing practical opportunity over perceived coolness. That's a mindset shift away from seeking external validation towards building genuine, sustainable value.
And identifying clear criteria for sound investments, like in real estate examples given.
That moves you away from emotional, potentially scarcity-driven decisions based on fear, FOMO, fear of missing out,
Right.
greed, and towards a more rational, abundance-oriented approach focused on long-term value and stability.
It also mentioned aligning your path with your personality, entrepreneur versus employee mindset.
Yes, recognizing your own personality and whether you thrive more with the uncertainty and self-reliance of entrepreneurship or the stability and structure of employment. That self-awareness prevents ego-driven choices that don't actually match who you are. One expert shared a story about having to sell a valuable item, like a Rolex, after an emotional, ego-driven financial decision went wrong, a painful lesson leading to smarter choices aligned with true goals, not just appearances. And learning to emotionally navigate money troubles, to process setbacks, without completely falling back into that deep scarcity pit that's a skill built on the resilience and trust cultivated by an abundance mindset. It's about responding from a place of capability. Okay, how do I solve this? Rather than collapsing into helplessness.
All of this really points to the fact that while affirmations are incredibly powerful, cultivating wealth consciousness is definitely part of a broader and often challenging journey. It's clearly not a simple flip of a switch.
Not at all. And it's vital to reiterate, affirmations change your internal state. And that changed state then guides and empowers your actions. They don't magically make money appear without any effort or opportunity on your part. They change you so that you're more likely to see, pursue, and ultimately succeed with the opportunities that arise or that you create.
And a really crucial nuance that came up in the discussion around that Reddit story, the idea that for some people, deeper blocks might need addressing first, like trauma.
Yes, that's an important point.
Yeah.
Deep-seated issues like unresolved trauma, resentment, maybe unforgiveness, these can create powerful internal resistance. They can keep the subconscious anchored in states of fear or unworthiness, no matter how many positive statements you repeat on the surface.
So the affirmation might not stick?
It might not fully take hold, yeah. So for some individuals, the journey might need to begin with clearing those emotional blocks first, perhaps through therapy, coaching, other healing modalities. It's about creating the necessary internal space for those positive beliefs to actually take root and grow.
And it's not about forcing toxic positivity or just ignoring real problems.
Not at all. It's about processing and releasing the past baggage so you can genuinely build a different future internally and externally.
And approaching this work, it's not about blaming yourself, right, or others for past financial struggles.
Absolutely not. Life happens, challenges arise for everyone. This is about recognizing the agency, the power you do have over your internal world, your thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and leveraging that power to influence how you respond to external circumstances and actively shape your future possibilities.
And as that Reddit author's own experience showed really clearly, consistency is hard, but it's absolutely necessary for sustained results.
So true. The temptation to stop once you achieve some success is real, but maintaining that practice of consciously managing your inner state seems key to continued growth and resilience against future challenges.
Finally, it feels important to hold the perspective that true abundance isn't just about dollars and cents, right?
Definitely. While financial well-being is absolutely a critical component for security and freedom, true abundance really encompasses health, fulfilling relationships, a sense of purpose, personal growth, all these vital parts of a rich and meaningful life.
And often, cultivating an abundance mindset in one area, like finances, can have positive spillover effects into those other areas too.
That's often the case, yes. It's all interconnected.
Well, this deep dive has really opened up the conversation about the powerful and often unseen role our internal world plays in our external financial reality.
It really has.
The core takeaway, it seems, couldn't be clearer. Your money mindset, whether you're aware of it or not, is absolutely foundational to your financial journey and its ultimate outcomes. Operating from scarcity fundamentally limits you.
While cultivating abundance, consciousness genuinely opens doors you might not have even seen before.
And financial affirmations, when used consistently and with genuine feeling, appear to be a potent, even research-backed tool for actively rewiring those limiting beliefs and embedding the principles of abundance and capability deep into your subconscious.
But as we've discussed, it's a holistic process. It demands consistency, persistence through the inevitable doubt, faith in possibility, and crucially, taking aligned action that's guided by your transformed inner state.
Right. It involves setting clear goals, visualizing your success, building those positive daily habits, and consciously curating a supportive environment around you.
It's about understanding that your internal state isn't a substitute for effort. It's really the engine that makes focused, effective effort feel more natural and intuitive. It guides you towards opportunities and empowers you to overcome the challenges along the way.
So let's leave you, our listener, with this final thought, something to maybe mull over as you move forward from here. If your inner world truly holds such power to shape your outer financial reality, what unconscious beliefs about money might you be holding on to right now that could be silently limiting your potential? And knowing that, what single consistent step will you commit to taking, maybe starting today, to begin consciously shifting that inner landscape, understanding the potentially profound and lasting impact it could have on your entire financial life?